I grew up in this small place called Garhwa in Jharkhand. On my parental side of the family, most of the girls would get married off as soon as they finished their 10th board. I started getting marriage proposals as soon as I turned 13. My mother at the time was the most educated woman in my family. She holds a MA degree from Kolkata University. Study well or you would be married off. This false threat from my parents worked like a charm for me because I used to be a distracted kid. My father and my mother both believed that education is the most important thing to grow socially and economically. And this small town called Garhwa in Jharkhand lacked two most basic things: good education and good healthcare facilities. So my father took this big, huge risk actually. He shifted from Garhwa to Ranchi, selling his big house, leaving his thriving career, only to ensure that they can provide good education for their daughter and my two brothers. When I was 23, I became an engineering graduate, and then I went to the National Institute of Design to pursue my post-graduation, where I met Tuhin, my husband and my co-founder. When we were 28, we got married, and by 29, we had established Menstrupedia. Next year, I was named as Forbes India 30 Under 30, and Menstrupedia, our company, started challenging the social norm and taboo around menstruation. Things started to change actually. The conversation of periods started to open up. It became cool to talk about menstruation in the years to follow. And when I was 33, I had my first child. And the same year, I was also named as Business World Magazine Most Influential Women. What were the odds? I could have been married by 17, have kids by 18. Education made all the difference because my parents understood the importance of educating their girl. Believe me, when I say education is the most important thing a society can do for its girls. In India, every year, 1.2 crore girls reach puberty. And because menstruation is a taboo, around 23 millions of girls start to miss out on their schools. If you do the maths, 1 in every 4 girls start to miss out on her education because she is on her periods. Girls getting on her periods in many of the households and many parts of our country means that there is an end to her education. I was speaking to girls in Mehsana district in Gujarat, and 9 standard girls shared with me that the boys would rape them if they know that they are on their periods. Imagine the fear of girls even forget about tuition classes in the evening, just going for their school, they would be so fearful. 1 in every 4 girls start to miss out on her education, while education being the most decisive factor of a girl's life. This number really disturbs me, and that is what my life's mission is, to reduce this number to 0 and educate every girl about periods and create an awareness where everybody knows that menstruation is a natural biological process, a process by which we all, human race propagate. We are all here because our mothers used to get periods. A little bit about how I got into this life's mission. So I grew up with menstrual taboo. When I got my first periods, I was told to keep it a secret from others, even from my father or brother, as if it was some kind of unspeakable sin. There were so many restrictions that were imposed upon me. I was considered untouchable. And this is not just my story. This is the story of millions of girls. Menstrual hygiene is a very important risk factor for reproductive tract infection. But in India, even today, only 50% of girls and women use hygienic ways to manage their cycle. They use rags, leaves, dry leaves, ashes and whatnot. And many times we believe that it is also because that people cannot afford sanitary napkin. So when I started getting my periods, I started with using rags. I would wash it and then reuse it again. But to store it and dry it, I would store it in a very dark, damp place so that nobody knows that I'm menstruating. Because all the other women in my family were doing the same. And, due to repeated washing, the cloth would often get coarse. I would get rashes using them. I used to cycle to my school, and it used to be a very terrible experience. So it was not that my parents couldn't afford to have sanitary napkins. In fact, my parents did everything to provide me with the best of the educational facilities so that I could bloom and grow like anything. But when it came to periods, even very educated, very concerned parents also, because of the taboo, couldn't provide the girl or their child with the hygienic practices. And this is probably what we wanted to resolve when we wanted to address this issue. And this was a simple biological process. We did our research. We took up a classroom project, made it into a complete 1-year research project. And during our research, we figured out that, a popular conception is that menstruation, the taboo, only exists with the rural population or only with uneducated people. But here we were, doing our research in the city and tier 2 cities and realizing that it is a taboo. It does not matter what social or economic background you come from. Periods are a topic. People are uncomfortable to talk about periods. And this is something that we want to tackle. We wanted to tackle this behavioral problem, a crisis that people are feeling uncomfortable and ashamed to talk about periods. And we wanted to create something. So we thought, why not create an environment where menstruation ceases to be a taboo? After toiling through many things that we wanted to build, we came up with this comic books. And the prototype itself, we took it to boys, we took it to the families, and girls were reading it in front of their fathers. And then we established Menstrupedia. These books went out, and right now the books are used in more than 11,000 schools across India. Apart from India, the books are locally printed in 7 to 8 different countries. What we created was that a 9-year-old Aditi, growing up in this small town in a very interior place, could read on her own about periods. It has been such a rewarding journey to be a menstrual educator. On all this journey, I have become one of the menstrual educator that a 9-year-old Aditi deserved in a school where teachers skipped the chapter on menstruation and nobody around her was talking about. But the most inspiring and magical thing that has happened is I have seen women coming forward, grandmothers coming forward, school principals, women and men from all walks of their life coming forward and making it a mission to break the taboo around menstruation in their own community. And it has been, women owning up and saying that, what if I face these taboos? I had these many restrictions. I'm going to ensure that the girls who are coming after me are not going to face all these challenges. And it always reminds me of this beautiful line from Maya Angelou, which says that every time a woman stands up for herself, not even knowing and not even claiming, she stands up for all women. So whenever you get a chance, stand up for yourself.